We've got to get it on with it. We've got to move. The next time, we don't need headlines saying that we're also providing billions more for roads and so much more.
Automatic stimulus checks would really be helpful to millions of Americans as the country's poverty and unemployment rate rises. More payments will be sent out. Automatic stabilizers are also often tied to unemployment rates, so many lawmakers are pushing for a plan that would issue broader targeted payments based on the state of unemployment. The White House has backed automatic stabilizers for unemployment, everybody, and as relief measures go, stimulus checks and unemployment insurances are not cheap fixes to the economic problems. The 3-round stimulus checks alone cost more than $850 billion. Of course, Republicans have voiced opposition to this. And now economists say that automatic stabilizers that send out targeted payments as the economy improves is a way to keep the costs more manageable. Kamala Harris supported recurring stimulus checks. A change.org petition, which was started last year, calls for $2,000 stimulus payments, and economists say that payments triggered by the automatic stabilizer should be at least $1,000. Now, lawmakers have proposed a number of other points that could be placed in a new stimulus payment, including new minimum wages, renewing federal tax on employment, and making the child tax credit permanent, among many others. At least 21 Senate Democrats are on board with this, and they sent Biden a letter expressing their support. As of right now, it's unclear when the automatic stabilizers could become law, even if they get the White House and lawmakers in Congress approve of it. Now, they're most likely a pathway to passage, and it will be if they're included in the legislation that Democrats look to pass by the way of budget reconciliation. That's a legislative process that is not subject to a filibuster. That means that instead of needing 60 votes to move forward, Democrats can pass legislation with a simple majority of 51 votes, as if it's unified. Without reconciliation, Democrats would need the support of at least 10 Republicans, and it's unclear if they'd sign onto the concept of automatic direct payments. Everybody, let's not forget about this. Millions of Americans find themselves lucky to receive a larger check of around $1,700 in the next few days, and this is really exciting news for many of you. I know many of you are wondering when you can get these stimulus checks approved and into your bank account. Well, on top of the upcoming stimulus checks, there will be an increase of around $821 for SSI recipients. Eligible Americans that claim these benefits were able to get the 2 checks in December. This is thanks to the new COLA adjustment, but the good news is that another stimulus check will be arriving February 1st. As the Social Security Administration explains, the monthly SSI check increased from around $800 per month in 2021 to $841. And the 2022 payments are delivered the second Wednesday of each month. And since the start of 2022, Congress has been under pressure from the Senior Citizens League for another one-time stimulus payment of $1,400. This is due to the current uncertainty in the United States following an increase in the crisis. Thank you again for your support, everybody. If you have any questions about this, leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my very best in answering them.
We saw today when a bridge is in disrepair, it literally can threaten lives. As soon as we heard about the bridge, we were immediately in contact with the mayor. Mr. Mayor, you're doing a hell of a job. And the governor and other officials on the ground. And we're going to rebuild that bridge, along with thousands of other bridges in Pennsylvania and across the country, because it's in our interest, for our own safety's sake, and it generates commerce in a way that we can't do now. That's part of how we're going to build a better America, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So thank you for the introduction, JoJo, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, County Executive Rich Fitzgerald. Great to see you again, pal. And it's good to be here with so many outstanding folks, particularly the Governor, Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman. John, if I had you in front of me when I was playing at Delaware, I could have been an All-American. I could have been big. And Connor Lamb, it's great to see you, man. And you're doing a hell of a job, all of you. And my good friend and former neighbor in Scranton, Bobby Casey. Now, his dad, we're about the same spread. His dad was as much older than me than I am than Bobby, but I lived in North Washington Avenue. You notice they changed the end of the road name. It's the Joe Biden way now. You know, no, really, you see that? I shouldn't say this. I'm going to get in trouble in Delaware, Mr. Secretary, but the first thing I asked the election results, I said, how did I do in Scranton? I won every precinct. And so I used to drive up Route 81 all the time to get, not just to get Scranton, but get up to Syracuse when I was at Syracuse Law School. And the entrance to go get to Scranton off 81 is the Joe Biden Expressway. So I'm coming home, Bobby. I'm coming home. But look, all kidding aside, I want to thank our Commerce Secretary, former Governor Gina Raimondo, for joining us today. And I want to thank Congressman Mike Doyle, who couldn't be here today, but who's done so much for this district. Nearly 3 years ago, I began my campaign for president right here in Pittsburgh, first major stop I made. I said back then I was running to restore the backbone of America, the middle class. It's time we began to build this country from the middle up and the bottom out, so that I've never known when a wealthy person didn't do well when the middle class was doing well. We always do better when ordinary, hard-working people have a shot. After I accepted the party's nomination in August of 2020, I came to Mill 19 for my first major campaign stop. And I laid out my vision to build a better America with better pay, greater dignity for the working people who are the ones who built this country. I often hear about who built the country. Guess what? The middle class built this country, and unions built the middle class. And folks, making it in America with American manufacturing and easing the financial burdens on millions of families, that's the same vision I laid out once again when I was here in Pittsburgh.
Well, this is the third time in really just a few days that members of Congress, Lori Lightfoot, our mayor, and many of you have joined us to celebrate the, if you will, the concrete improvements that we're going to see that we have thanks to the leadership of President Joe Biden in passing the bipartisan Infrastructure and Jobs Act. First, we were at the bridge by the Des Plaines River that has been rated poor, that is going to be helped through the state of Illinois by the money from this legislation. Then we were with Mayor Lightfoot, certainly with Dick Durbin, who's been to all three of these events, to celebrate the massive improvement of the Red Line and Purple Line project. That's going to be such a great difference and make sure that that so many of our L stations are accessible and much better. And today, here we are to celebrate the wonderful work that's going to be done on Lake Michigan's shoreline. You know, Lake Michigan